Hey, how's it going, guys? And gals, I guess. I'm sure we got some female viewers and listeners out there. I know my wife listens most of the time, so at least one. Yeah, welcome to episode 8 of Aggressively Wrong. You said one drama. She's
That's the one.
An army of one. Yeah, so
start with somewhere.
We did we talk about last week what we were going to say this week? I don't remember if we mentioned it, but this is kind of an episode that we've been talking about doing for a while now with the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that, but we're going to start off with sports, right?
Yes, sir. What's going on? Oh, you know what happened in sports this week that I like? I like boxing, and Tyson Fury knocked out Dillian White. I knew it was going to happen. And Todd and I were talking about this. I hope he doesn't retire. Like he said, he's probably done. I hope.
Didn't he say he was going to fight Francis Ngannou though too?
Yeah, actually, I was just looking at it. It says, yeah, I was just looking at that. And that's absurd. It's like in a boxing match, okay, but no, like UFC guys and boxing guys, it's two different animals. Boxing guys should stay out of the UFC, and UFC guys should stay out of boxing. Like. It just the crossover doesn't work.
I agree for the fans' sake. I mean, like Floyd and Conor McGregor, that was boring.
Conor had zero chance. I made so much money. I bet so many people dinners and all kinds of crazy shit at my work. I was like, dude, I'll take any bet. Any bet. Conor McGregor is not going to. He's not going to win a round. And it was like, whatever, he could land that one shot. And it's like, no, dude.
No, it was never going to happen.
No.
And I think I'm sure you and I talked about it at least briefly when it was kind of leading up to it. Because both of us are aware of the fact that it takes more than just punching ability to be a boxer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Floyd Mayweather is in probably not the top 20 punchers I've ever watched as a boxer, but he's the best defensive fighter that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's really good.
He can play hide and seek in the ring, you know what I mean? And that's not something that Conor McGregor's used to. So
I say this all the time. UFC guys can't punch. I say it all the time.
Even the good punchers aren't boxers.
They're not even close. They're not even close. Like guys like Chuck Liddell that are like these one punch crunch guys in UFC that you go to boxing, nothing. The power doesn't translate because it just doesn't. These boxers have literally been throwing punches since they were fetuses.
Right.
And you know, they know how to hit. I always said if a good boxer really trained MMA, he could take over. But the problem is once they know that you can hit, they're gonna take you down.
Right.
That's
so
where every boxer will always lose.
Right.
Is they're gonna have no ground game. So it's like I said, it's two completely different animals. Like
you almost have to have like somebody that trained as a boxer when they were a kid and also, you know, wrestled in high school and college or something. So they at least have that grappling kind of
the
skill
takedown
set.
defense is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're on the ground, you're in a world of James Toney was fighting UFC. And when James Toney fought UFC, he got his ass kicked because James Toney's a great boxer, but once you're on your back, you're a turtle, man. You're just laying out, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing you could do once they get you on your back, man. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, it's completely different. I mean, there's overlap, I guess. You know, they both involve fighting in a ring, but it's two entirely different kinds of fighting. So I think for the fans, it's not really that great of a, you know, it's not something that I get excited for. It's no different than like, did you see Hafthor Bjornsson and Eddie Hall? Did you see that boxing match?
Terrible.
Yeah, awful fight.
Bad.
Awful, ridiculous.
Bad.
So boring.
Oh, it was boring as shit. I was just like, oh, this is awful.
You would think 2 years of lead up, they would have. I mean, kudos to both of them for getting in way better shape than they were in before. Because now Thor looks,
he's a monster,
pretty fit, and Eddie Hall, he probably lost 80 pounds. But
But a guy like Tyson Fury would beat the fucking shit out of both those guys.
Oh, it wouldn't even be.
It wouldn't even be. And it doesn't matter how big they are. Tyson Fury's 6'9". He would box the shit out of them dudes.
That was the argument. That was the argument that I had after you and I talked the other day. I said the same thing. Like, super nerdy. I play a video game on my phone, a golf game, and a bunch of the guys that are in the clan with me are European, and one dude's South African, and he was talking about that fight, and he said that he thinks Mike Tyson in his prime would knock Tyson Fury out, and I was like, Mike Tyson is 5'10". I was like, the tallest person that Tyson fought in his career was Lennox Lewis, and Lewis beat him.
Yeah,
and the reason for that is the fact that Lewis had 7 inch.
There was another guy that was like 6'6".
Buster Douglas Buster Douglas is tall too. I mean, he fought a couple taller guys, but
none of them had the boxing ability that Tyson Fury had.
That's the thing. Lennox Lewis was a very good boxer and a very tall man. Tyson Fury is a better boxer.
Yeah,
and he's bigger.
Yep,
and he hits harder. I mean, it's just
that's the one thing Fury never. Ever since he started going to the Crunk gym, he's shown. I mean, he knocked out Bomber and he knocked out Dylan White. Personally, I still don't think he hits that hard.
Well, no,
the thing about him is he's a guy that he's like Pacquiao. He doesn't knock you out with one punch. It's like the accumulation of getting knocked around for 5 rounds, and then you're so tired that when he hits you with one good shot, then you go down. You know what I mean? It's not like he doesn't have that one punch. He doesn't. Yeah,
he's not a first round knockout type guy.
Right? Really. Yeah, he's not what Tyson was.
Right, and that was my one thing. I said, if Tyson, I mean, you can't say that anybody would consistently beat Tyson because he was a powder keg. You know what I mean? Right. If he connected with one
first 2 rounds,
yeah,
you gotta get past the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, if he comes out there and catches you with one,
right,
he could put anybody on the floor real quick.
You'd be looking like, ooh,
yeah, but you got to also think the leverage involved for Mike Tyson to really land a shot on a guy that's a full foot taller than him.
It's crazy.
It's hard to imagine, you know what I mean? Even especially with that little short, compact
that movement, this little like peekaboo movement.
Yeah,
he couldn't lead with any jab. He would have to.
No,
he would have to lead with overhand rights. And Tyson's so tall, he would just literally lean back from it and push him away like that.
Yeah, he would be deflecting more punches than he'd be blocking. He'd just be
moving. And Tyson Fury's got great head movement as well. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know. It's one of those things. I told Todd. All right, I think I even said it in the text.
You did
from us. I don't see any matchup at heavyweight that Tyson Fury, even hypotheticals. Ali, I think Ali would give him the best fight, but still he's so long and so much bigger that I just think I think he's the worst matchup for anybody ever. Like,
right.
He just is, because he's so skilled as a boxer. Like what he did to Klitschko, people forget. Before he went crazy, he beat Vladimir Klitschko after Klitschko literally dominated the heavyweight division for 10 years.
Yeah.
And Klitschko only landed like 18 punches. That's insane. Like,
and Klitschko's what, 6'7"? I mean, he's not a short guy. Yeah, he's a big ass dude.
Big dude. And Tyson went in there and said, "I'm gonna outbox you," and he did every single round. He beat him and I was a huge Klitschko fan at the time. I was like, "Oh, I think Klitschko could beat him," and because I'd only seen one of Fury's fights up until that point. And when he beat, I was like, "Dude, he beat him. There's no other way around it." Like he had all the belts from that fight. He took everything except for the belt that Vitaly had. And when he did that, then he lost it. You know what I mean? And had his mental breakdown and gained like 80 pounds.
I was going to say he got big. He got fat
and was doing cocaine and shit all the time. Like open about it. He's like, "Yeah, I do coke all the time." Like fucking. And so he got
he went off
all
the deep end for a minute.
Stripped, and then to come back from that, dude's a beast, bro.
Yeah.
He's an absolute monster.
And I'll tell you what, before he, what do you have, a draw with Wilder before he beat him? You were never a Wilder guy.
Anyone that watched that fight knows that
it wasn't a
draw.
draw.
Won that fight.
Yeah, And that's what I was saying the other day when we were talking about it. I said, once Fury beat Wilder, and I was kind of talking about that first fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that was his. Okay, I'm back now.
yeah.
And then when he beat him. It was like, and
Well,
Deontay Wilder is no joke. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the kind of fight. He's not the caliber of fighter that Tyson Fury is. But he walked into that with an undefeated record. I mean, he had beat up on some people.
Well, he's got that napalm right hand, like that. He's like Mike Tyson back in the day. Like there's always that in the back of your mind. Like, look, the first Tyson Fury Wilder fight, everybody that watched that fight will tell you the same thing.
Was just
the
waiting
only
for
rounds
the
that
haymaker.
Deontay won were the rounds that he knocked him down, and I argue that even the 12th round when he knocked Fury down and Fury like did the Undertaker shit and came back up,
right?
Fury beat him the rest of the round.
The rest of the round for sure.
Yeah.
But like you said, that man, when he connects,
right,
he connects.
Wilder's a one-trick pony. I've been watching Wilder for years. I liked Deontay Wilder before he started all the bomb squad bullshit. Like, he had this great story back in the day. Like, he's got a young daughter and she has like some issues and stuff. And he was like struggling as a football player, I think it was, or he's trying to make it to the NFL or something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, and then like he like told his daughter, one day I'm going to be world champion. I'm going to take care of you. And he did. He did it. But then he started in like the whole to this day, all that, not like when he turns on that bronze bomber, like Tyson Fury makes fun of him for it. When he turns on that show,
the persona,
it's awful. It's awful. It makes me just hate the guy, and you want to like the guy.
It's like a WWF like cutting a promo type situation.
Yeah,
where sometimes people are just not likable.
It's just not. If he could just be himself, like just be like Gennady and like not trying to sell fights and just saying, hey, he's just a nice guy. Because I guarantee you, Deontay, when the cameras aren't on him,
he's a totally different person. I bet. Yeah, he seems like
he cares about his kids.
Came from nothing. That type of guy. Yeah,
I'm sure he's awesome.
He's not the Gypsy King, but still.
Right, but as soon as those cameras come on, something snaps in there, and he's just got it. It's awful, so bad.
Booker T.
There's a good fight coming up May 5th. That's going to be a good fight. Canelo and Bivol.
Oh, you always talk about Canelo, but you hate him, don't you?
Well, I don't like Canelo because he's done some dirty ass shit. Like, he should have fought Gennady 3 years before. He was like bullshitting with Golovkin, and then this third fight, like Golovkin just knocked a guy out, Murata or something, a Japanese fighter. He knocked him out just recently, and all they talked about after the fight was, it's going to be Canelo and Triple G for a trilogy fight. And I'm a huge Triple G fan. I don't think he should get in the ring with Canelo. I think at this point right now, Canelo will beat him for sure. But the first two fights, I think Triple G clearly won the first fight, and then the second fight was more of a draw. I could see you giving it to Canelo if you're a Canelo fan, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that he's done a lot of shady shit. Like,
well, it always felt to me like I don't watch boxing as much as you. I'm a much more casual boxing fan, but I'm more of a fan than average Joe Schmo, I think. Right. And I think what it always seemed like to me was boxing wanted Canelo to be a star. Right. You know what I mean? Boxing as a whole.
Right.
And I hate getting into conspiracy theories like that, but you can go for the last 40 years of boxing and see when they latch on to somebody and want to make him the star, they're capable of doing it. They make the matches and stuff like that. Absolutely. And Canelo seemed like that dude for the last 10 years. It feels like every time he has the opportunity to fight somebody where you think, all right, this is going to be the fight, it doesn't happen.
Right.
And then it's just dumb. I don't know.
Well, and I look at it like this. The thing that two things that Floyd Mayweather taught him when he fought him at such an early age was, one, if you fight in America, you have to fight as an American. People people forget Canelo's not American.
Yeah, he's
But
Mexican,
he
right?
fights in America, and he's like the American guy, right?
Yeah.
That's what Floyd taught us. Floyd's like, here you go, man. You want people behind you. You know, you can still claim the Mexican thing, which he does,
Right.
but like he fights in America. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And
So
he plays it up.
right.
They make a big deal out of it.
right.
Yeah.
And he also has really looked at the way Floyd Mayweather maneuvered his career is very similar to the way Canelo is moving his career. Like he didn't fight Gennady when he was supposed to fight Gennady. And when Gennady was in his prime and he was coming into his prime,
like Mayweather did with Pacquiao.
But he put it off and he fought. Dude, Canelo fought Amir Glass-Chin Khan. Canelo fought a guy that got knocked out by Danny Garcia at 140 pounds. And Canelo, and people are like, oh, well, he beat Amir Khan. He's supposed to kill Amir Khan. Right. Amir Khan should have never gotten out of the ring, ever.
Right. He should have never gotten in the ring.
And Amir Khan won every round of that fight until he got knocked out. Every single round. If you go back and watch it, until the knockout, Amir Khan was slapping Canelo. Slapping him every time. Bam, bam, counter. Bam, bam. His footwork. It was amazing. I thought he was going to win. But then I saw Canelo setting up the feint. And that's what he hit him with, was this like go to the he kept going to Khan's body. He wasn't really connecting, but he kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And I was like, oh, he's setting up a crazy overhand right. And then when it landed, I was Glass Chin Khan. Like the guy's got no chin. Like all you got to do is land the one. You know,
right. He seems like Khan seems like the kind of guy, like every dude that watches an Amir Khan fight, like a pay-per-view, is like, man, just one shot, I think I could do it. Oh, you know what I mean? Like he's that dude.
The problem is dude's he's
got
so fast. The fastest hands in boxing.
Yeah.
Since Roy Jones was the original guy with the fastest hand, dude. Amir Khan is fast.
Man, Roy Jones Jr. was a bad dude.
Oh yeah, he was my old man's favorite boxer. Like that, he's my brother's favorite boxer. He was my old man. Him and Mike Tyson. We would get and my dad was really into Oscar De La Hoya early in his career too.
Oh, De La Hoya was a super entertaining fighter.
Yeah,
like early on, he was.
But my dad really liked Roy Jones. He would always say, look how crazy his hands are, because he would hold his hands way down below his waist. And then guys, as soon as they would come in, he would hit him with that like 7 little baby hooks and shit. Like all that stuff was crazy to me, man. Like nuts. But yeah, Canelo Bivol, I think that's going to be a pretty good fight. I think that will be that's going to be the hardest fight for Canelo since Golovkin, for sure. I think it's going to be a very similar fight. I think Canelo will probably beat him on the cards, because Canelo won't lose in America on the cards, guaranteed, because boxing is corrupt as shit.
Right.
But I think Bivol is not a joke. He's not like if you look at Canelo's resume, there's some question. Rocky Fielding, like there's guys on there that should have never gotten a Canelo fight, and they were like basically tune-up fights for really tough fights.
Right.
And I don't know, like I think if it goes to the cards, obviously Canelo's gonna win. Bivol's got to knock him out.
Yeah.
But Bivol
or be really convincing. I mean,
dude, look, if you watch the Golovkin Canelo draw, the first fight, Golovkin beat him. You can't. There's nowhere you can give Canelo 3 rounds. There's nowhere. There's no, like, you can't. If you can't give him 3 rounds, there's no way you're giving him 6 rounds for a draw. Like it's like the boxing in America is corrupt as shit and is not good. Like I don't know. Like I just don't. I don't see him winning on the card. If he would have to knock Canelo down like three times.
Yeah, it'd have to be ridiculously convincing.
Yeah. Like there was look, Wilder got a draw out of Fury, lost every single round, and he still got a draw out of Fury.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know, like America scares me when it comes to like actual fighters. Like Pacquiao and Timothy Bradley beat Pacquiao. Dude, I turned that fight off in the 11th round and started playing Call of Duty. And somebody playing Call of Duty with me was like, you need to turn on SportsCenter right now. I was like, what? I go, I just got done watching the fight. He's like, dude, check it out. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even believe they would let Timothy Bradley win that fight. Like, it's insanity to me. Like, the judging system is broken in boxing. It's corrupt as shit. It sucks. Like, guys are already pre-made to win. But we'll see. I think Canelo will win, but I think it'll be a good fight. I think the Bivol will be a good fight.
Sorry about the sound, that crazy sound just now.
Yeah.
My cat is batting around a ball with a bell in it.
Nice.
Todd just putting the little chat there. What's that sound? Like, oh crap, it is loud. Okay, gotcha.
See, I can't.
Sorry about that.
Everybody that's listening. Chat. Comments.
Hit private chat.
Oh,
there you
private
go.
Chat.
I think you just batted it into the kitchen. So now
private chat. Oh, there's 13.
Yeah.
18 minutes on boxing. Nice. I could go all night on boxing.
Yeah, for real.
That's my second favorite sport. So
all right, so let's get to the meat here. Oh, okay. Wait, before that, one last time talking about NFL draft because it's tomorrow. Give me.
I think it's O-line. O-line goes first.
So either Evan Neal or homeboy from Mississippi State or whatever.
I think it's the guy from Mississippi State, yeah.
And then,
but is there going to be any moves? That's what I was thinking about. Like they keep talking about the Cowboys making moves. I'll be fucking pissed off if they make a move and it's not for offensive lineman or an even better edge rusher. Then where
are the Cowboys? 20?
24.
Oh, okay. So
I think 24.
There's some decent like mid to late first round type offensive line.
Yeah. I'm okay with an O lineman or an edge rusher. I'm okay with either of those two positions in the first round.
I saw one mock when I was looking at it that had the Cowboys trading up quite a bit, like into like the 10 to 14 range to go get oh Lord, the dude from Purdue, the edge rusher from Purdue.
Oh yeah,
or whatever. I can't remember if that's that.
I don't see it happening.
I think that's a reach. He might be available at 24. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's going to be a ton of edge rushers taken though in the first round. I mean, it's heavy on freakish athletic defensive linemen right now. I think
the whole first round is just going to be like edge lineman, like get one defensive tackle, then DE
right.
again.
Well, plus they were calling what's his face from Georgia, Trayvon Walker or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were calling him a defensive tackle until he ran a 4.7 or whatever at the combine, and now they're like, oh, he's an edge rusher now.
Yeah, now he's
wait a second. Homeboy's 320 pounds. That's a big boy.
On the mock thing you guys sent in the chat earlier, somebody had Kenny Pickett or that Pickett quarterback going at 6. Who's drafting at 6?
The Giants.
Carolina. It's Carolina.
Oh yeah. They, you know what? They need a quarterback because Sam Darnold.
I don't know.
Is not your answer.
Yeah, that's true.
I hope you're right. I hope offensive line goes first. Like I said last week, I would be fine with Hutchinson going to my Lions. Really, I just don't want the Lions to do something dumb like draft a quarterback at number 2. Any quarterback. Really.
Yeah, I think if they were going to do that, they're going to drop back. They would trade that pick because you got to get capital.
I don't know how many people are really willing to move that far up. I feel like everybody that's talking about moves, it's more like a moving up 5-6 picks because they got their eye on somebody specific. I don't see any, like no mocks that I've seen have anybody moving past like 10. You know what I mean? Everybody's trading up from the back of the first round to like 10 to 13. Nobody's trading into the top 10, but we never know.
Have you noticed that they're like really like trying to push stars on this instead of like there being one guy where it was like, oh, this is the guy. They're like, well, this could be the guy and this could be the guy. And it's like, there's no real like.
I remember like 5 or 6 years ago, they did something similar. Like the first year that they did that, hey, rookie, welcome to the NFL thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the first year, but it was the first year that I remember it being like a huge ordeal. And they did that same thing because it was like nobody knew. Usually by now we know who's going number one.
Right.
Right now it's still like I've seen 5 different names attached to that number 1 pick. Never see that.
Yeah.
So Todd just said Philadelphia has 15, 16, and 19 and could have Detroit's 2nd and 32nd and 34 for those 3. Yeah, no shit, Todd. I think any team would be willing to take 15, 16, and 19 over 2, 32, and 34 this year because there's not an obvious number 2. I don't know if I've ever been more unhappy with having a 2nd pick than I am this year.
Right. Because it's like, but I think that I honestly, I think it's going to end up being that guy from Michigan. Hometown, with it being in Detroit, like it's kind of a no-brainer. You're going to sell 1 billion jerseys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're going to sell 1 billion jerseys. Like it's pretty much easy. So, I think it's an easy pick.
My wife showed she shared a Facebook post or something with me that was when he was supposed to throw out the first pitch and the game got rained out. It was the day that Miggy was supposed to hit 3,000 and it got rained out.
Oh, yeah.
The day after the intentional walk. And she was like, so is this the guy that the Lions are going to draft? And I was like, yeah, probably. And she was like, well, he's already wearing a Detroit Tigers hat and throwing out pitches at the Tigers game. That's probably a sign that he's going to be a Detroit Lion, right?
Right.
And I was like, my wife, who doesn't really watch a ton of sports, has already connected the dots on that. It seems like
right.
It seems pretty obvious. If he's there at 2, we're taking him.
Yeah, I think so too.
But if he does get drafted number 1 overall,
I don't see it. I don't see it. I think it's going to be the O-line. I think you gotta protect your investment that you got last year.
And he is quite the investment. I'm ready for the Trevor Lawrence show.
Yeah, me too.
As much as I hated him while he was at Clemson, I think he's going to be a stud.
Yeah, I agree. I think eventually. Todd said 2 thumbs down. I don't know. I think he's going to be all right, especially in that not division, but the division with the Colts and like that. It's a crapshoot every year.
It's a lot of teams that are kind of on their like they're not in an open window to be a good playoff team. You know what I mean? Like you always hear about, oh, is their window closing? It's a bunch of teams whose windows are getting close. And then the Jags
are on the rise, but their quarterback thing sucks.
I think the Colts have a lot of pieces and just not the right pieces right now. You know what I mean? Like their offensive line is very good.
Right.
They've got a couple real strong defensive players. They got a good running back.
Right.
But if you don't have
to throw the ball to, man.
They have maybe the worst receiver room in the league. Yeah. They have a quarterback who I'm not very confident in if I'm a Colts fan.
Like I like Matt Ryan. But I think but he's got nobody to throw to. Like he's gonna struggle. For sure.
I think I'm biased against Matt Ryan anyway because of all the Matty Ice stuff. Like, because in my head, I watched our Matt in Detroit have ice in his veins, leading 4th quarter comebacks for his entire career.
Right.
And like, oh, Matty Ice in Atlanta. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, the real Matty Ice is up here in the north. And then, like, on top of already hating him for that, then he goes and blows a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. Now, some of that was on him. A lot of that was on the horrible Atlanta defense, and a lot of it was the fact that Tom Brady is Tom Brady. But still, like, I remember watching that Super Bowl and seeing Matt Ryan on the sideline, and he just looked like a beat dog. Like, going into that 4th quarter, you want your quarterback to be like, let's do this, like amped up, and he just looked like somebody had told him that his grandpa died. It was just awful.
Yeah, but he was also going up against the GOAT.
Yeah.
And I think that was when that Super Bowl is when I was like, okay, Tom Brady's the greatest.
He's the real thing. Yeah.
Ever lived.
I already like grudgingly would say that he was the best.
Right.
Like that was he had barely passed Joe Montana for me at that point.
Right.
And then that one, I was like, okay, now there's a wide gap here.
Yeah, it's not even close. Yeah, it's not even close. We'll segue that into our film.
What
topic.
we've all been waiting for.
Yeah. So we discussed before. We decided to make our list, and we're gonna do top 5 Disney animated movies. So no Flight of the Navigator or any of that weird, live action Disney stuff. Because there's a couple of great, I could do a list of those too. I mean, Mary Poppins was great.
So that Mary Poppins was absolutely the reason that I asked the question that I asked earlier. Like, are we including? Yeah. Is it just animated?
Right.
Because Mary Poppins is incredible.
Yeah, very good.
Especially when you think about the fact that it was made. Oh boy, did you see that comment? Get out of here, Todd. It was made in a time like, God, Todd, you just threw me.
I know, right?
Todd's a Mary Poppins hater, everybody. Fuck Mary Poppins. There, I said it, says Todd. Thank you, Todd, the producer. Go ahead and
it's a hot take for sure.
Go ahead, Todd. Tell us how you feel about Mary Poppins, bro.
You like Mary Poppins?
I think it's overrated.
Really?
I think it's one of the most overrated films of all time.
What?
I would go the opposite direction.
Yeah, I would too.
I just don't enjoy it. Man, I have never enjoyed that movie. I've watched it multiple times. I just don't get the hype.
The songs are good, bro.
So the
whole thing with the penguins and shit and all that.
That's what I was going to say.
Areas.
That movie was made in 1960 something, 62, 63, something like that.
Maybe for the time, doesn't hold up.
It was incredible with the hybrid of live action and animation. Yeah. And Dick Van Dyke, how are you about to sit over there?
I remember Poppins, he had that terrible British accent.
The worst Cockney accent ever, but still.
I'm telling you, I just I don't like it. I have never even shown that movie to my kids because I don't like that movie that much. It's just terrible to me.
The remake was trash. I will say that. Like that remake they just did.
I mean, I'm sure if I'm looking at it from when it was made, then sure. It's a good movie.
I haven't watched the remake.
It just doesn't to me. It doesn't hold up.
Watch the remake.
If I'm gonna sit down and watch a Disney movie, it's not even. It wouldn't even be on the radar of films that I'm about to watch.
Dude, really? A spoonful of sugar.
It's a good song.
Supercalifragilistic.
So if it was included, if you included it just with the animated films, would it be in your top 5?
No, not on my animated. I can't do it.
I think it was on the first draft list that I made,
including the Pixar films.
Yeah,
no,
not top 5. I'm saying when I first wrote out the list of okay, these are the ones.
I had 15. I had 15 movies.
It was 19. It's 19 movies that were on my original list.
Yeah, it wouldn't even crack the top 15 for me.
You know what's crazy? When Disney Plus first came out, the first movie I watched was Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, that movie, when I was a kid, I rented it all the time. I loved that movie. And I rewatched it and I was like, okay, this movie did not age well. But it's still pretty solid for what it was. But it wasn't the same as I remember it. Because I was like, oh, shit, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks? I haven't seen that in years. Of course that's going to be the first thing I watch. I could watch Toy Story later. You know what I mean? I watched Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. I think I stayed home because John was sick. So I had to stay home from work. And I was just like, wow, I'm going to watch Disney Plus movies all day. And it was Bed Knobs and Broomsticks was the first thing we watched. I think the second thing we watched was I can't even remember. I think it was A Bug's Life or something like that.
I think I already told you. I watched Flight of the Navigator and Willow.
Oh yeah, Willow.
And then Angels in the Outfield. Those were the 3 that I watched that first day.
Well, Willow wasn't technically a Disney movie until they bought it.
I know, but it was on Disney
because
Plus.
it was a Lucasfilm movie, right? It was produced by George Lucas and stuff, and Ron Howard directed it.
Mm-hmm.
But it technically wasn't a Disney movie until they bought Lucasfilm. So a lot of that stuff is like kind of grandfathered in. Like,
well, that'd be the same as looking at Pixar. That's why I asked about Pixar, because Pixar wasn't Disney,
right?
They bought it. So
Pixar was Disney. Pixar just
originally.
I thought they were always they were Disney first, and then they removed from
Steve
Disney.
Jobs started Pixar.
Yeah.
Toy Story was Pixar? Was only Pixar?
The first Toy Story, you can thank Steve Jobs for that movie.
Yeah, that was not released as a Disney film.
The second one was. I know the second one was.
That was
they bought.
The second one was in Pixar after the.
They had like
the purchase.
Pixar did like 2 or 3 movies, and they were all like bangers. And Disney was like, "Let me have that."
Yeah, that's true.
Mouse the House came with a blank.
That's
check.
actually probably probably really similar to how the conversation went, to be honest.
Right. Let me get that.
Here's a check.
Who was in charge of Disney?
You write as many zeros as you want on this check.
Was it what's his name? Was Eisner in charge of Disney?
Yeah, that's what. Right. I think Eisner was like his first major purchase, if I remember right.
Right.
He came in and was like, "Okay, here comes some computer animation." Right. Yeah.
All right, so this was
all right, Todd. Thank you for your
fuck Mary Poppins
incorrect opinion about Mary Poppins.
Yeah, Mary Poppins. So the criteria was it has to be an animated film, Disney, Pixar, either of them, and we were going with the top 5. Like, if you had to choose your top 5, which are they going to be and what order they're going to be? You said you had a shocker, so I'm interested. I want to hear your list.
Okay, so I'm gonna grab my notes real quick.
Yeah, good idea.
Now, I'll tell you, like we talked about earlier, there's some that almost made the list.
Right.
But they're just like...
Okay, this is what we'll do. Give you one honorable mention of the... And then you got to go with the 5. See, okay. You can't have like 15 honorable mentions. All right. So give yourself one where you're like, this is the one that didn't make the cut, and then go with
one. The one that didn't make the cut is Brave, because like we talked about it earlier.
We did.
Incredible story, great animation. It's visually absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
But there's just something missing from it. The story's great.
I don't think it was big.
It was, I mean? Yeah, there wasn't like a villain that really, yeah. There was like the villain was
the villain.
Kind of, but then the bear was her mom. I don't know. It was wild.
No,
it was a cool story. Oh, like the wild bear that took her dad's leg.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right.
Her dad was great, by the way. Billy Connolly is.
Yeah.
And a part of that is sentimental too, because my daughter really loved that one when she was little.
Brave.
Like that and Frozen were like they lived in her DVD player for a long time.
Yeah, Frozen.
And it was well, there's perfect segue because my number 5 is Frozen drama.
The first Frozen or the second one?
The first Frozen.
The first one is so good.
The first Frozen. And it's Oh.
I thought he was gonna pop on.
I thought for sure I was about to get absolutely stepped on for saying Frozen. I thought Todd was coming in heavy there. Okay. All right. Whew, that gave me a jolt, Todd. Thanks. It's so acceptable. Good. Frozen mostly for the music. And Olaf. I think
dude, so good.
Dude. Olaf is a top 10 Disney character in my opinion.
Oh, he's so good.
I like Josh Gad.
Yeah, he's funny as shit. Yeah.
He's super funny as Olaf anyway, and like the little plus this adds to his great characterness, but it's not in the first movie. The second movie, when he's like given the rundown of what happened to he's like their parents are dead, and like giving the backstory, and then Disney did a whole series of him retelling. Yeah. Oh my god, it's so good.
It is good, yeah.
But the first movie, the story's great, the music's great. Visually, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it is.
It's just it's
the ride at Disney World's awesome too. Like if you ever get to go to Disney, it's a pretty cool ride.
Well, we were planning a trip to Disney this year, and then between me switching jobs and stuff, it just didn't end up working out.
Yeah.
And lots of other stuff. Number 4, I have Moana.
Excellent.
And it's kind of the same thing with Frozen. I mean, the music is a huge part of that. That the main song, like How Far I'll Go.
Yeah.
That's a great song, even not in if that song was just released.
Yeah, I get chills just thinking about it.
Had nothing to do with a movie at all. It would still be a great song. It's an absolute banger. And it might not be the best song on the soundtrack, because that Shiny song is incredible.
Oh, dude, Jermaine Clement.
Dude. You can't go wrong. And The Rock,
like my song,
like The Rock, the thank you song. I mean,
all those are bangers.
You're welcome.
They're all good. Yeah,
incredible.
Excellent.
And I love the story. I mean, it's a cool. I like the kind of lore of Pacific Islanders anyway. Like I like watching dudes do the haka and stuff like that, and like that whole idea of like the island nations, and then Disney doing it right too, and not having a little white girl do the voice is also really great. Third.
No, but I wanted to mention something. Have you ever heard have you seen the conspiracy theory behind Moana? That the whole movie, she dies when she disobeys her dad and goes out into the and she dies, and the whole rest of the movie is her going to heaven, because like later on it, like you see her grandmother as the manta ray or whatever, and then like there's like a whole, like I saw it on YouTube. It's pretty interesting. Like it was like,
dude, Disney conspiracies dark, are so great anyway.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of dark, but it fits. Like
I like the Disney conspiracy that the Elsa and Anna's parents were
Tarzan's
Tarzan's mom and dad. That one's pretty rad too.
Well, there is,
because it does absolutely look like the same ship, and then it's under the water in Little Mermaid too.
Yep. And in their Rapunzel from Tangled.
Yeah, she's there.
They're
at the wedding.
In Frozen. So it's like
and that's
like
that one's blatant too. Shit. Like the first time I heard that, I was like, hold up, and I went and watched it, and it's
plain as day. Her and Flynn Rider are both there.
His name's Eugene, but anyway,
Is it?
It's his real name.
Right, it's Flynn.
Yeah, he chose Flynn Rider. His birth name is Eugene. Third, I'm going with Aladdin.
Banger.
Probably the first one that I remember, like I watched like the Sleeping Beauty and stuff like that when I was a little kid, and Cinderella and Snow White and all those, but Aladdin's the first one that I remember as a kid being excited when it was released. You know what I mean? Like that's
the music too. Every song, I could probably sing every song in Aladdin.
Oh yeah, that's probably the best soundtrack. I think start to finish, I would say Aladdin has the best soundtrack. Yeah.
Whole New World, like
all of them. They're all good. Arabian
good.
Nights.
Did you ever get to play the video game on Sega Genesis?
Sega Genesis? Of course I did, John.
So good.
Great game.
Such a good game. That stupid snake at the end was so annoying to beat. Me and my brother.
Now I feel like I gotta find a Sega Genesis now,
and play that
to play that. Is it on the Sega Classic? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You think so?
It was one of the best Sega Genesis games, in my opinion. I thought it was great.
So I have a.
Oh, it's PlayStation and Xbox. They reissued it. Yeah.
I'll see if I can find that. I have the little Nintendo Classic. I'm sure Todd still has. He probably has that and 45 regular Nintendos, but
yeah, he does.
I really want a Super Nintendo Classic, and then the Sega Classic. I feel like I would really only play Sonic 3 over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Sonic 3 is an amazing game.
Joe Montana Football was pretty good too for its time.
See, I was a Deion Sanders primetime football guy on the Sega.
That was a good game too, though.
Okay, so Aladdin. Aladdin is absolutely, it's not beatable really as far as soundtrack goes, and cool story. Robin Williams, obviously, great.
Yeah.
But number 2, this is the one that I think you're going to be shocked by.
Okay.
And I think I just watched Todd type it up there. Robin Hood.
Yeah, I liked that Robin Hood movie when I was a kid. That's a great one. That's a good one for
sure.
Dude,
that is one of those ones that I can still Like if it pops into my head, I'll throw it up there and watch it. And it's yeah. I whistle, dude. I whistle that tune at work.
Oh, the
yeah. I walk around whistling that shit. Like that's like one of the tunes that I will just absentmindedly whistle.
Right.
And like when he dresses up like the stork to win the archery contest.
The archery contest.
Dude, that whole just the whole movie is so good. And Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest, like that. It's just a great movie. Yeah, it's really. Todd agrees. He says it's his favorite, not the best, but it's
favorite.
His favorite.
I didn't know that about Todd. That is his favorite.
Fun fact, Caleb. Almost all the scenes with Little John were ripped scenes from Jungle Book.
Yeah, I know.
They just recolored him and through the same like production wise, they did them exact same.
That was
saved money.
That was super duper common back then too. Like that's why so many of the characters look so similar, like size wise and things like that. Even when they're not just like both bears, that's clearly Baloo as Little John. You know what I mean? But like, there's other movies that I've seen. There's a scene in Dumbo that's almost exactly identical to a scene in Jungle Book. Also, like they reuse so many of those animation cells from Jungle Book.
Yeah,
and like Aristocats has a bunch of them that are reused too. Yep. It was really, really common and kind of weird. I remember noticing it when I was a kid and being like, oh, wait a second. This looks really similar to something that I've seen.
Yeah, like when the cats are dancing and shit. It's like, they reuse that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a ton of them. It's wild. And then number one, this isn't going to be a surprise to anybody, I don't think.
I think your number one and my number one are the same one.
Is it Toy Story?
Yeah.
Dude. So, original Toy Story is, in my opinion, a top 20 movie, period. Like, not animated, not Disney. I think it is. If I sit down and make a top 20 list, it's always going to be in that list.
Sure.
It is next to perfect.
Dude, I agree.
I don't have anything that I can. There's not a negative thing that I can say about Toy Story other than I wish they made. The
story arc is so perfect. Like it's ebbs and flows, it's ups and downs, like everything about it.
Yeah, being an animated movie and being able to, like, even adults, even watching it now, I still have very similar emotions to how I did the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
and like that's crazy to think about an animated movie doing that to a almost 40-year-old man, and like you care about the characters, like you have emotional connections. It's really, really crazy. Like I don't think Disney could probably. It's going to be impossible, I think, for them to ever beat it for me because I don't have the nostalgia feel for any new Disney movies that come out. Like I really like Moana, I really like Brave and Frozen. Like those have come out recently, but you can't beat those first three, those top three for me because of the attachment that I had to them when I was a kid that has maintained through my life. Yeah. And Todd also said Lion King. Lion King probably would have been the next one that I, honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
It's really great, but those three, Toy Story, Robin Hood, and Aladdin, are just so good.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's hear it.
So I would have two honorable mentions as well. My first honorable mention is the same one as Todd's honorable mention. And we mentioned, I already mentioned it this episode, A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life is so super slept on. It's so good. Like I think the hardest I've ever laughed at a Disney anything ever was in Bug's Life when all the little bugs bring the heroes that picture, and they're all like, some of them are like dead on the picture, and like the slug guy's dead, and he's just like the way he looks. Oh, dude, every time I see it, I just laugh. It's the best. I love it. Like I love A Bug's Life. It's good. My other
did A Bug's Life? How close did A Bug's Life and Ants come out?
Dude, I thought they were the same movie. That's how close. Like
Ants is the one with Woody Allen, right?
Right, and yeah, it's crazy because I thought they were the same movie until I was like, oh shit, A Bug's Life is not the same movie as Ants. Like,
right.
Yeah, but yeah, they were so close together that they kind of got meshed in together.
They kind of Armageddon deep impacted us.
Yeah. Then my second honorable mention, and it's only because my son loved it so much, and it's my sister's favorite movie, and I really liked it as well. Like I don't know what I like. I like a lot of mine ended up being movies that had to do with the ocean. It was Lilo and Stitch. Like I really like the Stitch character. I think the music is good. They use the Elvis music and Tia Carrera as Lilo's sister, and like all of that. I really liked that movie. I thought, and it was definitely original.
Yeah, I like Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch was solid. That's like my honorable mention too.
So there's the confirmation from Todd. 2 months apart between Ants and A Bug's Life.
That's crazy. Like too close together. They did not get that right.
Yeah, that's like Dante's Peak and Volcano.
My number 5, it was so hard to narrow this list down to like the top 5.
Yeah,
I set my criteria as this. It was music, or it was visuals, then music, then story. And that was like the 3 things I really wanted to focus on, and then that I thought were brought out all around. Like I think Frozen 2 has probably one of the best soundtracks, but it was like the story wasn't that great. It definitely wasn't as good as the first Frozen. And then the visual, they didn't really add anything visually. I liked the song that Weezer wrote that Sven sang. I liked Elsa's song. I liked the Snowman. Olaf's song. All of that stuff. The songs were great, but everything else kind of lacked. You know, they didn't improve visually, and the story wasn't as good as the first. So it's like I couldn't put that in the top 5 because, you know, even though I love the soundtrack and I think the soundtrack's great. So my criteria was like that. So the number 5, I got Beauty and the Beast. I think Beauty and the Beast, I think Belle is the absolute 10 of Disney princesses. I think Emma Watson playing her in the live action was an absolute travesty. Like you have a Hollywood 6 playing a Disney 10. Like
a Hollywood 6?
Hollywood 6, bud. She is at best a 6.
That is Hermione Granger you're speaking of right now.
Yeah. Trust me, she should not have been Belle. Belle is
I agree she shouldn't have been Belle, but she's not a Hollywood 6. This is a totally different subject.
Hollywood 6. Like Belle is a Disney 10. She's a 10 of 10. So Emma Watson is
a Fort Wayne 9.
She's a Fort Wayne 9 for sure. The music's great, the story's great, the characters, those are all what I like a lot about that movie. Just it's one of the only classic Disney movies that are the actual Disney movies that are on my list. Number 4 is Moana.
Real fast, as a whole, what do you think of the live action? Like, you obviously didn't like Emma Watson as Belle, but
I thought it was cool. I've only watched 2 of the Disney live action movies, and it was that one and the Jungle Book, and they were both just okay. Like I'm not really into the live. Once they do the live action jump, to me, it just seems like
it loses a lot.
It loses too much. Yeah. Like it's the animation part to me is what makes them great. And like some of the
I've seen the Beauty and the Beast. I've seen Aladdin. We went and saw the live action Aladdin in the theater, and it really was not good. If I'm being totally honest, I'm not a fan. My daughters like it. I don't.
I like the Jungle Book one. I like the Jungle Book one better than Beauty and the Beast.
Agreed. The Jungle Book. Of the live action ones, the Jungle Book.
Christopher Walken as the big orangutan. Like that was King Louis. Yeah, that was good.
Do you remember us talking? By the way, this is another sidetrack. Do you remember us talking about making the vulgar version of the Jungle Book back in the day?
No, I don't.
That was like a random weird thing that you and I talked about, like
I'm sure
20 years ago, basically.
Right. 4 was Moana. my wife actually, we just got our TV took a crap on us, so I had to buy a new TV, and it's a very nice TV. And she's like, "Have you watched Moana on the new television?" And I was like, "No." And she put it on because Jace likes it, and I was like, "Holy shit! This is another reason why Moana is on my top 5. It's beautiful."
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's
beautiful.
A gorgeous movie.
The scene at the beginning where Moana is a little baby and she goes off into the ocean,
and the water picks her up and stuff. Yeah,
so good. The story's amazing. The songs are amazing. It's top 5. Guaranteed. It should be top 5 on any Disney fans list. I think it's that good. Like, I hope they don't ruin it with the sequel. Like, I really don't. Like, I heard that The Rock's not going to do it now, and like, I don't know. Like, I think I just hope they don't ruin it with the sequel. Like, because the first one is
it's
really good,
breathtaking.
I actually just in my head right here, I moved Toy Story to 3, and the reason I moved Toy Story to 3, it's not because the other 2 I think are that much better, but it is because I've recently gone back and watched Toy Story 3 after my kids had Toy Story 4 on repeat. The animation has really improved.
Oh yeah.
Like, the original Toy Story animation at the time was really great. But not, like, if you go back and watch it now, it's like, okay, like, it's like if you ever the video game, you remember Virtual Fighter versus Tekken? Yeah. It's like Virtual Fighter versus Tekken. You know what I mean? Like, the graphics always improved in Tekken, and just Virtual Fighter stayed the exact same. So for me, like, the story's great for Toy Story. I think you get that. There's that friendship thing where it's like the songs are great, and like it's how you wish relationships would be in your life. You know what I mean? Like, with the character and like how he feels about his toys, and it kind of encompasses all the movies and like this change that this little boy goes through, and they follow him all the way. Like, it's such a great series of movies that, like, to have it in just that one at number 1, I wish I could just put all 4 of them at number 3. You know what I mean? Where it's just like it encompasses all of it, because it's so like Todd said in the chat just a minute ago, 2 and 3 were like 3 and 4 were like tear jerkers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in 3, when they're all holding hands in the furnace and they're all, dude, I cried. I literally cried watching that movie. I was like, this is sad. It invoked an emotional reaction from at the time I was 30. You know what I mean? Like, watching it in the theater, it's like, this is amazing, like, so good. And it's because of the relationships that had built in the second and the first one. And, you know, it comes all
you're
around.
invested.
Like,
you
care for the characters.
Yeah.
So Toy Story is number 3. This one, these 2 were back and back, dude. I couldn't, because one of them is one of my all-time favorites that I've watched for years and years and years, and I think it's like, and this is one that wasn't on any list and nobody's mentioned it, so I'm kind of happy. And I think I have to put it at number 2 because it lacks one of my criteria, and that's music. But Emperor's New Groove. Emperor's New Groove, bro.
Oh, pull the lever, Cross.
So slept on, bro. The fourth wall break. Cusco is the original Deadpool, basically.
It's very good.
Oh, dude, Kronk. I remember the first time I watched that movie. Patrick Warburton's Kronk, when the little devils are popping up on the side, and he's like, hey, where's the other guy? And the guy shows up. He's like, got a broken wheel. Oh, dude. So, and Yzma, even the villain is funny, charismatic, everything about like the characters, the way they're drawn, and David Spade's like, it was David Spade. Like, you couldn't, it was like David Spade's Tommy Boy character was like Cusco. And and then freaking John Goodman's in it too. Like, it's so good. And I people always, nobody ever mentions it in the lexicon of Disney movies. And it's like,
I think you nailed why, though. I think when you're putting together a list like this, you kind of gravitate towards the musical, you know, the ones that were big, like the ones that you saw merch for at Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? Like those type of, like the big
songs
release,
you hear on the radio.
Yeah, the widely advertised huge ordeals.
Yeah.
And Emperor's New Groove is it's great. I mean, it's very good,
so
but it doesn't
good.
have that musical element, and that's I think a lot of why.
Yeah.
And it was like the first Disney movie that I remember being like, "Whoa, these jokes are a little bit."
Right? Yeah, they're like
They're a
adult
little
jokes,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
they're aimed slightly higher than what I've
right.
seen before.
But they still hit with the kids though. My
Yeah.
daughter loves that movie. She thinks it's great, and my son too. Like we laugh every time we watch it. We think it's great. Like the Kronk character, squeaking, all of that stuff, dude. Like and the sequels were good, even though they didn't have Cusco in them. They went with Kronk's New Groove, and they weren't great movies, but they were still, as far as direct to DVD sequels for Disney goes, Kronk's New Groove is one of the best ones. Like
that's a
lot of those straight
to
DVD
niche. That's a very niche category there, drama.
Yeah, Aladdin
straight to
5 and shit, like his
straight
return
to
to
DVD
right,
Disney sequels.
Yeah, none of those hit very hard. So
I love Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, dude, he's so good.
My brother-in-law does a really, really good Patrick Warburton impression. Like, really good.
When you go to Disney World and you go to Soarin' and Epcot, he does the little pre-flight thing. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My number one film, I've been saying this since it came out. It's Coco.
Yeah. I knew you were going to go with it.
Yeah. In the whole reason, the Coco's music to me, I feel like I really like the cultural aspect that they went, okay, we're going to do like Spanish or Mexican culture. Let's do a movie about it. And I learned so much from that movie about some of the culture stuff that I didn't know about Mexican through Coco. And then once I looked at, I mean, it wasn't completely accurate, but it was still like this cool story that they told about like how they revere the dead and stuff like that, and how it's a little bit different in the culture. And I was like, that's really neat. And then the colors, like,
oh, that's what I was gonna say. Visually, like the bridge and all that stuff, like it's
the flowers, the multicolored,
really
like the lady, the lady that's dead, like her great grandma, her like chimera or whatever it was, like beautiful, like all of that stuff, just absolutely beautiful. And the story's good. There's a good villain. There's a good, like they're not just trying to beat the villain, but they're trying to get him back into real life so he can be a part of the family. And then it's just so good. And every time at the very end of the movie, when he's singing the song, "Remember Me" to her, every time I cry. It's right in the feels with it, and I like that, invoking that emotional response. It's so good, like really good. But that's my number one for sure.
I can't disagree with any of those being on the list. I mean, I don't know how you took Toy Story all the way to below Emperor's New Groove. But,
I think that was because of what it meant to me.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? So, like you have Robin Hood on top 5. I don't think Robin Hood is a top 5 movie, but to you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like because I like Robin Hood too. It reminds me, it was one of those older Disney movies that when I was young would watch. Yeah. But I can't put it up there because I didn't like it that much. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But I understand why you could put it on there because it's like it means different things to different people.
Yeah, I mean, it is a whole like it literally like transports me back in time when it's on. It's like I can remember.
That's how Aladdin does for me. Aladdin does that for me because Aladdin is like that was one of the movies. Like my best friend growing up, Derek, he and I would watch that when we were teenagers. Like we would not let anybody else know that we would watch that movie. But as a teenager growing up, like we're south of Creighton and Fort Wayne, like you're not allowed to watch Disney movies. Like,
that was something I kind of wanted to touch on when we were talking about doing this anyway. Like I remember when I was, 22 years old, you and I, like when we first met.
Yeah.
And both of us, like normally two dudes in their early mid 20s are going to be hardcore. Like, no, man, I don't watch Disney. And you and I
like Reservoir Dogs, bro.
Right. And you and I always used to talk. And that's what I was trying to, I am surprised you don't remember us talking about making the Jungle Book spoof.
I think I do recall,
because we were talking about a frog being like afraid of everything that that went by him in the jungle because he's a fucking frog.
Yeah, because he's a fucking frog. Yeah. I do remember that.
But yeah, like we kind of bonded over Disney movies at 22 and 24, 25 years old or whatever. It's crazy, but yeah, that's Disney movies can do that to guys if they know that they're among others that enjoy it. It's like, well, shit, I don't have to be worried that you guys are going to think I'm a pussy for liking Disney movies.
Dude, people talk that shit all the time. People ask me, you go to Disney every year? I go, yes. I went to Disney as a child, and when I go back now, it takes me back to that time.
See, I've never been
back to that time, and it's one of those things that Disney, the parks, and Todd can attest to. I got Todd to go. Todd was like, I'm never going to Florida. I got Todd to go to Disney, and we went and we had a great time because it's one of those things. Their customer service is top notch. When you go to the parks, you know, they take you. It's expensive, but you pay for. Oh, look at that! That's awesome. That's sweet.
That's a Parch Brothers glass. I chose this one, obviously, very specifically.
Turn it back to the castle for me. Is that the new castle? The old? That's the new castle too. That's the 50th anniversary castle. They just redid that castle last year because it used to be just blue and like a blue and white, and now they changed it to that like rose gold and iridescent blue. It's pretty.
So that glass, obviously, it's Parch Brothers, like all the other glasses that you see me drink out of on here. The guy, big ups. So the guy that runs that actually posted a picture in the Parch Brothers group. He took his glass with him to Disney and like smuggled it in and drank out of it at the castle. Cool. Like you could see it. He took some nice pictures. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they do some great stuff. All right. So
we only have one pop culture thing to talk about. Like we could just touch on it real quick because we're already running over. But the whole Twitter thing, everybody's pissed off at Elon for buying Twitter. Like we don't understand it. Like we don't get it. We don't get why everybody's like, I'm quitting Twitter. It's like,
yeah, I get the idea of people being upset about it, but like boycotting Twitter is the weirdest way to be upset about this that I could possibly think of. Like, I'm just gonna stop using Twitter because I'm mad that Elon Musk bought it. Like that's super weird.
Doesn't make any sense to me. Like and then I keep thinking about it, I was like, Elon Musk, that's the guy that smoked weed on Joe Rogan, right? Like the Asperger's dude who's like a billionaire. That's the guy you guys are pissed off about. Like
I'm shocked at how rarely people pick up on the fact that he definitely is on the spectrum.
Yeah,
like he absolutely has to be.
Yeah,
but I also think that there's the possibility that he's just forgotten how to be a normal person too. You know what I mean? Like he has no reason to act like a normal human being at this point.
Right.
Who does he have to be like?
Right.
Like literally, no, he does not give a single solitary shit what anybody thinks at this point.
Right.
I don't know.
I like that one. Go with it, Todd.
Ooh. Whoa.
Did you read it?
Yeah, that's hefty. All right, Todd, come on in and ask it, bro. Let you.
Did you want to hear the other question? I said or. You had two options.
Oh.
You might like the other one too.
Type it up. Let's see. Let's make a decision here. This first one's heavy as hell, Todd.
This is so dumb. Okay.
That's like.
Hey, I didn't create it. Somebody else did.
That was absurd.
Was this? That's
on that thing I have.
Oh my god, dude. I hope the second one is better because this is just super negative.
Yeah, it's not good.
This is like a
at home. It's not good.
This is a real.
I don't want to answer this.
You'll like the other one. You'll like the other one. I was giving you options. I actually
had like 4 or 5 of them. I like this one way more.
Yeah. Let's do the second one.
Do we
right.
do we want to tell the
other one we'll save for another day?
We'll save that. We'll wait till we have a following so we can get canceled.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. So go ahead and ask it, Todd.
So if you could fight one person to the death and switch lives with them if you win, so they would physically die, you would get to take over their life.
Would they then take over my life?
Well, they'd be gone.
Oh, I thought you just said they wouldn't.
You just get to be them.
You have to fight them to the death.
You fight them to the death, and you get to basically take their place.
If you win, you take over their life, but you're still you, or you turn into them.
Like, do I have to look like this person?
Right. That's what I want to know.
I would say you can still look like you. Let's say you
still look like me.
Be you, but everybody else just thinks that you're him.
All right, then my answer is no longer Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
I'd love to look like that dude. Whew.
Word.
He's doing fine.
Get those little ab things. That'd be awesome.
We all know you want to look like Josh Hartnett. Don't pretend, drama.
I do want to look like Josh.
All right. So if I could fight one person to the death, it might be Elon Musk, because God, that would be amazing to just be able to buy Twitter when you feel like it.
Yeah, but are you really going to beat the shit out of somebody with autism?
It's Asperger's.
He's getting his ass kicked. I don't think he has.
It's
Asperger's.
It's on the spectrum.
I would absolutely kick his Asperger's.
And canceled.
And there it is. Aggressively done.
Aggressively done, yeah.
No, I would say I would probably pick somebody in like the entertainment field, not somebody in like the billionaire realm, because that's too much. You know what I mean? Maybe like, wait, oh boy, they're fighting back, obviously, right? So like, you got to be able to beat them. So like,
yeah, that's where my brain is at. Right
like
now.
I'm not picking, you're gonna be
I'm not picking Chris Hemsworth or something like that. Who's gonna fucking Thor stomp me? I don't think I could beat up Chris Hemsworth. I think I could.
I know what mine is. I
think I could beat up some Avengers, but he's not one of them. How about
Caleb's gonna beat up Olaf? He's gonna take Josh Gad.
Right. I wouldn't mind being Josh Gad. He's probably got a pretty cushy life at this point.
All right, it's going too long. You got to answer.
All right, do it, drama. You go.
Oh, it's Paul Rudd.
Whoa.
Paul Rudd. I'm killing Paul Rudd for sure.
National icon.
That's a fight I know I can win. It's a fight I know I can win.
Wait,
he's got a long career. He's got lots of money saved up. I'll be just fine with Paul Rudd.
How much older is Paul Rudd than you?
Oh, he's older.
He's 50, 51? Is that right?
I don't know. He's in his 50s for sure. He was in Clueless, bro.
Yeah, that was a lot.
I was like maybe 12, 13 when Clueless came out. And he was like
1995, I'm pretty sure.
95, so I was 15.
Yeah. So he's like 10, he's like a legit 10 years older than you. Okay, so
I could beat up Paul Rudd.
But would you want to become 10 years older than you are just for beating up Paul Rudd? Because that's another thing that I'm taking into consideration here. I want to be somebody around.
Look at him. He's beautiful still.
I know, but you look like you, right?
Yeah, good point. Damn.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you would look like you, and then it's all
some random girl. Who's Billie Eilish. I'll just choke her out and take all her money.
And then you become a girl, drama.
Yeah, that's not such a bad thing now.
A girl that looks like, I don't know. This is a weird question. All right, I changed my mind.
It is a weird question. Am I just getting their money, or I got to become them?
You switch lives with them, like
Okay, I choose Rory McIlroy.
Ooh. Rory's tough. Rory lifts weights.
I don't care, dude. Rory's a little golfer. Like,
he's not little.
He's little compared to me.
How tall do you think Rory is?
A 9-iron to the head.
How tall do you think Rory McIlroy is?
I bet Rory's 5'11", 6 foot.
6'2".
He is not 6'2".
I don't know.
He's barely taller than Ricky Fowler.
I think Fowler's a little guy, right?
Yeah, take a look. How tall do we think he is?
I think he's over 6. I think he's right 6 feet.
5'11",
5'9".
5'9". I would pound Rory McIlroy into the fucking dirt. 5'9".
He's 161 pounds.
I'm too.
He's 161 pounds. All right, I'm taking Rory McIlroy.
I am 300 pounds. I would eat Rory McIlroy in the middle of the fight. I would just get tired of punching him and eat him. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm picking for sure.
Okay, you're right.
And I'm not picking John Rahm. John Rahm's a big dude.
Or Jordan Spieth, or
Spieth isn't very big either. I don't think, is he?
I guess switch lives. Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Look, man, that'd be a fun life to live, dude.
Do you have to
right in my wheelhouse? I get to go be a stand-up. I get to have money.
But let me ask you this: do you inherit his abilities? Because that's a lot of pressure to live up to. He's had a lot of.
He doesn't even do stand-up anymore. You just gotta be funny in movies.
Yeah, people write.
You got to be kind of funny in movies. Even you don't even have to be that funny.
Yeah,
he's not that great. But all right, well,
fantastic show.
That was
in the books.
That was a great show.
Yeah, it was a good time.
All right, thanks a lot, Todd.
All right.
That question was.
I had a visitor at the last moment.
Linky.
Oh, what up, buddy?
Sneaky Linky.
Half awake. So
Stinky Linky.
All right.
Sneaky Linky.
All right, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. Aggressively wrong.